Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
We are a nation in decline.
Experts are preparing for what is known as Disease X, or the next pandemic.
What we are seeing is a revolution against the system.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rise and Grind with VinceTagliavia. I'm live with you every Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Right now, my schedule is up in the air, and I apologize for that. I'm just trying to get ahead of the game here. So I've had a little bit of a shaky starting time, but we'll get it all ironed out. I may have to make changes here, but it's difficult. So just bear with me as I figure out my scheduling here in the morning time. We're going to go over the news and events of the world. Today's show is called Eerily Quiet. It's January 31st, 2024. Last day of January already. Holy moly. And we're just going to talk about some of the news and events that have occurred. And boy, are things occurring. It's insane. The news cycle is so vigorous and so quick, and there's so many things. I don't think any one person has their finger on all of the things. I think that it's so fleeting and progressive and quick that this is why we have these shows. It's to kind of keep a grip on what's going on and pick and choose what we focus our time and energy looking into. I think we have a pretty good idea of what's going on, though, in the big picture of things. And there's a lot of confirmation from a lot of other people, although that doesn't mean you're right. I don't know. Just be vigilant and be careful and all that, especially in these times. It's crazy, crazy times. Good morning, Army Rangers. Been watching the convoy to Texas. Yes, good. It's a very interesting situation, the convoy. I mean, it's a very interesting one. So yes, we'll be watching, of course. Good morning, Quiet Toad. How you doing? And good morning, everybody else as well. But let's get into things here. We're gonna just discuss some of what I've uncovered, just a little bit of headlines and topics and things. And we will talk about the story that broke last night. A man was arrested, wanted for beheading his father. A horrible story. And I'll wait till the near the end of the show to talk about that, and I'll let you know before I do, because I don't want this is not it's not a story that you want kids to hear or anything like that. It's just grotesque and horrible, and it's somehow I see a little bit of mainstream coverage on it. Last night it broke. It's a huge conspiracy, of course, as it always is, and I think that's part of the reason why you see not much attention on it now. Although I saw CNN talked about it, Fox News put an article about it, New York Post put an article about it, and they're all a little misleading and all a little bit leaving some information out. Imagine that. So we're going to look at that and kind of figure things out here. At least I'll give you my opinion and we'll check it out. But before that, we're going to talk a little bit about finance. We're going to hear from the Fed today, and we'll just await what happens then. The market's not doing great. The market's a lot of red this morning. Gold is up, though, almost 1%. It's at $2,067. Silver's at $23.28. Bitcoin, $43,373. And we're just putting right along. That's all. Let's go here. Apparently, the NASDAQ is planning hundreds of job cuts, layoffs after layoffs after layoffs after layoffs. I mean, seems to be like Every day there's more, and word is it's going to continue throughout the year for many of these large companies. So just buckle up. I mean, people, I think about this too. People are always like, when is it going to collapse? When is everything going to collapse? Is a collapse inevitable? You know, kind of this idea that everything's going to collapse overnight and it's going to be SHTF and every man for himself and everything's going to fall apart and all this. I don't think that's the case. And if it was, it probably would have already collapsed overnight a long time ago, many times, probably in 2020, 2019. But I think that we're in it. We're watching the systematic collapse happen day by day. I really do believe that. And so it doesn't feel like it. I think it's because it's a little bit longer term than people might expect. Although that doesn't mean that bad stuff can't happen overnight or in a matter of weeks, right? Things can still happen quickly, but that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but that's just like my gut feeling, if you will. Let me know. Do you guys agree? Can a collapse happen just overnight? I know it's possible, but I think it's more likely we're going to see this ebb and flow of extremes, not like a super jerky progression. But I think we're in it, man. This is getting ugly, and we're almost like at the peak of ugly, I feel. But we still have a whole year ahead of us and an election year. Oh my goodness. This is a crazy time to be alive, I tell you. So get your coffee, get your tea. Let's get into it. Hey, Forrest, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. Well, turns out half the jobs were fake. Peter Stonge writes on X. It's worth noting the Wall Street Journal estimates over half of new jobs were government or welfare. Makes you wonder if we gained any real jobs at all. Quarterly census. So this is E.J. Anthony, PhD. He says that quarterly census has 332,000 private sector job gains in quarter 2 2023 versus 603,000 in non-farm payrolls from monthly job reports, which were already revised heavily downward. Explains why people hate this economy. Job gains roughly half the advertised figure. So this happens. They release data. They revise the data lower. Very rarely we'll see them raise it higher. Like, we revised it and we could actually squeeze it for more BS numbers. That's how whenever I see like numbers revised positively, I'm like, oh, so they, that's smart. Revise it up this time so that way it doesn't seem too suspicious. But yeah, the jobs. Were there any jobs created? It's a great question by Peter Stonge. And I want to play Peter Stonge's video that he put out this morning at 5:30 a.m. Pacific. And it's just a few minutes long at Prof. Stonge on x.com if you want to follow him on, I think he's on YouTube and also on x.com. He puts out really great videos, I do say, if I do say so myself. Let's go ahead and watch this, and then we'll continue on with a little bit more here. And before I do that, I'm just going to go here, see. All right, let's do that. Army Rangers, on what I was just talking about, says the central banking system won't allow it. Yeah, I think you're right. There are things in place, especially when it comes to banking, to prevent an overnight collapse. But yeah, that's one factor that makes me believe things take a little longer than a day or two. But I think it could still happen fairly quickly if the circumstances are right. Who knows, though, man? I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I know much, y'all. Let's be honest. I mean, who knows what hand will be dealt? All right, here's Peter Stonge, unchained.com, at Prof. Stonge. Let's see what he has to say. $155 billion for illegals and lobbyists.
The sociopaths in Congress are currently trying to sneak in a bill that combines welfare benefits for illegals crossing the border with crony corporate tax cuts to sweeten the deal. Republicans are trying to slip this Trojan horse past their voters by calling it tax relief, in case you thought there was actually a good party in Washington. My colleagues Richard Stern and Preston Brashers have been on the top of this little gem that would cost us $155 billion per year if it passes. So what is the bill and what does it do? Called the Tax Relief for American Families and Workers Act, it's very Orwellian. The bipartisan bill, meaning the uniparty bill, gives millions of illegal immigrants welfare benefits. Of course, also for the millions more who are currently on their way. You would think such a bill would have zero chance of passing Congress, that Republicans would stop it. And enter the lobbyists, because the rest of the bill is a laundry list of lobbyists-approved tax breaks like retroactive depreciation and a nudge in Section 163 business amortization. I know, gripping stuff, but it pays the bills. It's even got a bizarre break slashing royalties tax on residents of Taiwan from 30% to 10% in case you wonder why lobbyists make the big bucks. So welcome to America's new ruling coalition. Illegal immigrants and corporate lobbyists. Two parties united. Of course, the bill authors are aware that Washington is currently running a $2.7 trillion deficit that will bankrupt our country, with Congress's own bean counters projecting $145 trillion with a T of national debt by 2053. So to cover the fact that this bill is adding to that to the tune of potentially trillions, they resort to Washington-level accounting fraud. Namely, they cancel a failed COVID-era employee retention credit that has paid out $230 billion, much of it fraudulent. Instead of simply winding down the program and admitting that they effed up, they label the long overdue wind down as $78 billion in savings and hand that to illegals and lobbyists. It's worth noting that those $78 billion in savings are more than that program was supposed to cost in the first place, so they promised a handout. They actually handed out $200 billion more than promised, and then they stopped handing it out and called that an extra $78 billion left over for their clients. Welcome to Washington. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. We actually stand a good chance of killing this particular bill after a bunch of us on Twitter and at Heritage raised the alarm. But they will be back because the uniparty ripoff is in full blossom, even as the people reject both parties at historic rates. One party goes insane, throwing voters to the other party, who takes their vote and rips them off. Has it end with anti-establishment candidates who gut the cronies running both major parties. We're currently going into primary season, and this is your chance to give your donations, your volunteer time, and your vote to those anti-establishment candidates.
Yeah. So obviously, Professor Stange, very anti-establishment. He says support anti-establishment on either side. He says they're both corrupt, essentially, in a nutshell. And it's just a big scam fest. Scam. And then at the end, the scammers get scammed. Of course, all of us get scammed first. What a sick game. Oh, my gosh. Well, thank you, Peter Stange, for producing these little videos. They're fantastic. I do enjoy them, I will say. Onward. New York community stock crashes more than 42%. Trading halted for volatility. Trading halted. I think we have more on this story. This is the bank collapse, y'all. The banks are collapsing. New York community bank shares are down over 40% today. This is, it says here, the bank posted a surprise loss for the fourth quarter and also cut its dividend. The dividend is what they pay out every once or twice a year, or depending on how often, every quarter or every other quarter, for their shareholders. And they've reduced that amount, which means they're not making as much money, obviously. They write here on X.com, this is at Gavin. They said, this is the same bank who bought Signature Bank last year after it collapsed. The New York Community Bank Corp Incorporated, that is the symbol NYCB. And these are the things that are in place to prevent this from completely collapsing overnight. They're going to try to save it. It's down 34.97% as of now, and they put these stops in place. 15-minute delayed. Okay, so this may be a little bit inaccurate as far as price goes, but this is what they do. If you see this happening, especially for a major index, although I think it's in place for individual stocks as well, it'll put a stop. It'll stop trading. It'll halt trading. You know, I think that there's these stops for like the S&P 500 and things where it's like a 7% or 8% stop. And so if it rapidly increases or rapidly decreases, trading's halted for a period of time for people to recollect. And the idea is that people will remove trades and put in new trades and kind of keep things more steady to prevent any type of manipulation and also collapses and things like this. As my understanding of it, we saw this happen during right before Trump's V-shaped recovery. We saw 1 week where there were 2 or 3 days in a row where trading was halted and even canceled for entire days. And right around that same period, I think that was in 2020, we saw the New York Stock Exchange close down and completely convert to all electronic trading, getting rid of any of the manual trading processes and paper and stuff like that. They went completely digital. And I think that was just in preparation for digital dollars and things like that, which Trump says he does not support digital dollars, or what does he call it? CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, which is interesting. He's been saying that a lot lately. Anyway, not a good sign today. But we're going to move this forward. My news is a little bit out of order here. Let's see. Let's move on. Articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas are to move forward. The House Committee on Homeland Security just voted to advance late last night. So Mayorkas probably is going to be impeached here. We'll see. What do you guys think? Onward. Former President Donald Trump has been nominated by Rep. Claudia Tenney for a Nobel Peace Prize for his Abraham Accords and, quote, his tireless efforts to bring peace to the Middle East. People are, lunatics on the left are so mad about this. But yeah, this is what everybody wants. Everybody wants peace. Trump displayed his ability to bring peace through strength, but peace nonetheless. And people want that again. I think that's why I'm going to vote for Trump. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Even I think there's a lot of deeply closeted Trump supporters out there, and that red wave is still alive and well and probably stronger than ever. You've got those people that are afraid to say it, but they can see it and they're going to vote for Trump. They just don't want to be ostracized by any far left folks and whatnot. That's just my opinion. That's how I see it. I'm sticking to it. Everyone talks about crypto, but if the grid went down, it's useless, says half the world is night. Yeah, that's true. Everyone talks about crypto, but if the grid goes down, it's useless. That's why I'm not particularly fond of crypto or not. I will say the way I look at it is with cryptocurrency, it doesn't hurt to have some. I would say, first of all, I think it should be, in my opinion, and based off of what a lot of investors say, it should be a relatively small portion of your portfolio. And that depends on how much risk you want to take, understanding the risk of holding on to something like Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency. Some people would say, that's not right. And I'm not like set in stone on these ideas, nor do I have like a grand understanding of it. Okay. I'm just a normal guy giving you my opinions, and I'd love to hear yours as well. And maybe you'll convince me, maybe you'll, share some information and it'll change my outlook. But I think considering the volatility and the risk, a smaller amount of money is probably smarter for me. And then also, you're right. What if there's a solar flare and it knocks down our electronics? What if there's a war and the infrastructure is taken down and there's not enough energy to power these servers or we can't even get power to log on our computers to get access to our Bitcoins? Yeah, that's a problem. Same thing exists, by the way, for banks. Most of our currency is digital anyway, right? There's not enough cash. There's not enough physical cash to support our economy anyway. So that problem is going to happen regardless if all your money is cash, all your money is crypto, all your money is in the stocks, all your money is in physical assets and gold and silver sitting at your house. At least that you can make coins and spend it. But maybe if they're taking it, that's the thing. If somebody's accepting it, it's a pretty messed up situation no matter how you look at it. But when it comes to like trading, let's say SHTF happens. The supply chain comes to a halt. This is like a crazy dystopian scenario where everything shuts down again, like it did during COVID. If it happened for an extended period of time, people aren't going to be trading crypto. People aren't going to be trading dollars, most likely, unless it's in very high amounts, right? Because if something like this happened, I would assume we'd have crazy and hyperinflation by then, which we're kind of inching towards to. The value of the dollar becoming less and less and less, and it's going to be like thousands of dollars for something basic. So, and most people don't have thousands of dollars sitting at their houses or in their safes or in a local safe even. It's just the fact of the matter. Anyway, I think that people will be trading goods. It'll be, hey, I have a rabbit. Can I have a chicken? I have some water. Can I have some grain? I have some green vegetables. Can you give me some tomatoes? I have tomato sauce. Will you give me some fresh venison? I have beef jerky. What do you have? You have bullets. I have filters. It's going to be that kind of thing in a survival situation. It's going to be goods, things that really have value and that you could hold and utilize right away. Bitcoin is not going to do that for you. Cash ain't going to do that for you unless you're burning it to stay warm or start a fire, right? Start a campfire or something. That's something to think about. Anyway, sorry folks. Tangent. Squirrel. And hopefully shit doesn't hit the fan, but who knows? Hey, sorry, never mind. I thought I saw someone here. We owe our veterans everything. Yeah, you guys were saying with the all the money going to cartels and all the wrong places that it should be going to veterans. Absolutely, veterans. We owe our veterans everything, Army Ranger says. We really do. And it just makes me sick to see what is happening with the world. And it's just horrible. We owe illegal immigrants lead, Army Ranger says. That's what a lot of people are saying, and they're really upset with Donald Trump, and they're like, right-wing extremists. That's the narrative they're going with now. It's extremism. Take the guns. Prevent any organization against our scams. It's getting really heated, and I'll just say be careful because they're going to set up traps. People are going to get pissed. People are going to make bad decisions. So we got to keep a cool head and be strategic with how we get through this year, because I want a lot of positive years ahead of us. There's a lot we can improve on. So the future has a lot of potential to be amazing. Let's just put it that way. Right? Am I right or am I right? Half the world is night. Yes, I think we will go back to the barter system. I'd like to go back to the barter system now. I do a lot of bartering and trading, or you could do trade labor for items or labor for cash or labor for different things. There's so many that's considered bartering, right? There's a lot of cool stuff you could do. It's a lot of work. But I might start raising rabbits this year. and just to take a break from the news. I mean, this stuff's heavy. I want to just take a break. I want to raise rabbits this year, and I have a friend who said they could give me a breeding pair of rabbits for meat rabbits. And I think it's time to make that happen. I have a poll on x.com running right now too, and I think people say get the rabbits. But I know a lot of you raise chickens and various animals. So let me know, should I raise rabbits? I really would like to. There's a lot of benefits. My friend did the calculation, and they said it costs them about between $1 and $1.20 per pound of rabbit meat that they procure. And of course, the scale and how much you want to procure depends on you control that. But rabbits are 100% utilizable, which means 100% of the rabbit could be used. You've got the meat, which, let me talk about rabbit meat real quick. It's not, you can't survive off of purely just rabbit, I don't think, for very long, at least maybe not in the healthiest way, because it doesn't have a high fat content. It's very lean, and you need that fat. So you've got to supplement fat if you're eating a lot of rabbit. But other than that, it's pretty spectacular. They grow quickly. They don't take up a lot of space. They reproduce quickly. You get the meat, you get all the guts, which the guts can be used for a lot of things. Even the brain of the rabbit can be used to tan the rabbit skins, the rabbit hide. You could use the brains to tan it. Some people do, but you need a lot of brains. So that's the tricky part, I guess. The guts can be used as fishing bait. The guts could be used as chicken feed. So if I had rabbits, I could go to the guy who has chickens up the street, and I could say, hey, how about some eggs for some chicken food? Barter, right? Simple. Where these guts are pretty much useless to me unless I can freeze them and go fishing or go catch crabs, or, there's not much I could do with the guts except fishing, trapping. You could trap animals with it, maybe try to snare a bird or something with little guts, or you could even attract like bears with it. You can attract different animals and have some traps. Who knows? But every single part of it's usable. So that's kind of a cool thing about it. It doesn't take that much time to do either, minimally a little bit of time every day, in the morning and the evening, maybe in the afternoon, just maybe, you're talking like a half hour or less per day, maybe 15 minutes per day, 10 minutes per day. It ends up being way more because it's a nice thing to do. So you want to go talk to your rabbits and work on the things and make things better. But, on average, if you needed to, you could just get by with like 10, 15 minutes, water them, feed them, make sure there's nothing weird going on. They're all healthy. Okay, cool. They're not frozen or not too hot. Great. So yeah, rabbits, folks. I'm really considering it. Really considering it. I think everybody should be. If you could have chickens, get chickens. If you could have rabbits, get rabbits. I mean, I worry about the food chain. I really do. I have my emergency supply of food, but I mean, I think everybody should be more self-sustainable. And it's about that time to start gardening. I don't know if we're going to have another cold snap here in the Pacific Northwest, but I am planning out gardening. We're expanding the outdoor gardening area. We've got the greenhouse up last year, ready to go. It's actually got some stuff in it now, but we're going to get our seeds started in there. And we're going to take a risk and just start planting seeds here in February. Start seeing if we could grow some indoors and in the greenhouse. Somebody told me in Montana they will grow seeds in their greenhouse, but it's so cold in Montana. The way that they grow it is they actually have to put row covers, or they have to create like a mini greenhouse inside the greenhouse to grow like lettuce or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, something to think about if it's cold or in your area. If there's a will, there's a way. Wondering what rabbit bone marrow tastes like. Bet it's good. I bet I don't know, Princess. I'm sure it just tastes like any normal marrow. Forrest says, I used to farm, and bartering is the best way to be. People do what they love, and the whole energy behind bartering is so much better. Why wouldn't you raise rabbits? Forrest says. That's a great question. You could do starts inside under lights and veg them until it gets warmer. Veg them? I'm not sure. But yes, I understand. I think the general consensus of what you're saying. Start them indoors. You could use lights. Absolutely. I'm excited. I'm going to. All right, let's see what else. Let's talk a little bit about other news here. We've got audio obtained by the Free Beacon. Let's get into a little politics here real quick. Free Beacon has obtained audio of a whistleblower telling Fani Willis that her top aide was misusing federal funds. Instead of firing the top aide, Fani Willis fired the whistleblower. Fani Willis is as crooked as they come. Unbelievable. Not really unbelievable. I mean, I'm not surprised. This corruption's rampant.
What is the sentence? If you had to give me a sentence, what is the sentence theme?
Once I told him about his, respectfully and in an email, about his lack of leadership and the fact that he wanted to do things with grants that were impossible. And I kept telling him, like, we can't do that, and questioning stuff. He would take me off projects, tell people I wasn't doing what I was supposed to because I questioned him. Because I understood, I helped write that grant. I knew what was in that grant. He told everybody in front of Crystal, Deontay, everybody, we're going to get MacBooks, we're going to do that, we're going to get swag, we're going to use it for travel. I said, you cannot do that. It's a very, very specific grant. Took me off. I questioned Junior DA. There's kids in there from out of the county, all this. Took me off Junior DA. I did not want to do it. He made it look as if I wasn't doing what I needed to do because I questioned him. Because I knew for a fact Mr. Cuffey respectfully did not know what he was doing. Period.
So I respect that is your assessment. It was clear to me that you and Mr. Cuffey were not getting along. And I'm not saying that your assessment is wrong. I want you to really listen to the words I'm saying.
Cuffey, and this is my personal opinion, to one woman to another, is dangerous to your administration. He tells people, when I reached out to you, he told me, you think your word is safe? Exactly when you reached out to Miss Willis, she called me and told me, she tell me everything. So once you reach out to her, she's going to reach back out to me. So I didn't even go to HR because he put Dexter's name on my PDP, and I didn't even feel safe going to anybody.
Can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 supervisors that have failed in this building. What's interesting to me, because I'm in a learning curve too, they each pretend to have a relationship with me that they do not have. Mm-hmm. I guess that's an intimidation tactic. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry that you felt that way, but Dexter certainly don't have no relationship with right. Michael Cuffey. You were safe to go those places.
All right. Crazy. The corruption. That was from November 19th, 2021. The corruption's just unfolding by the day. Onward. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to push this story to the back, man. It's very graphic and brutal, and push this to the back too. Trump is leading Biden in all swing states in the November 2024 election for U.S. president. If they were being held today, if the election was today and Democrat Joe Biden and Republican Donald Trump were on the ballot, whom would you vote for? And Trump. I mean, let's face it. We could find a poll that shows the exact opposite, right? We can. That's really true. We really can. But this is a poll of 4,956 registered voters conducted in January last week. The margin of error is plus or minus 1 percentage point across the 7 states. Blah, blah, blah. But I think it's safe to say Trump has a huge lead everywhere, probably even more than this. But the data and these polls, they're biased. They're all this, they're that. So I just take it for what it's worth, and not much, but I think it's true. I think Trump's leading everywhere. That's just my opinion. It's impossible to know except for intuition, I guess, and looking at what we do know. I mean, look at the crowds he garners, and just listen to the people you interact with. Most people I run into are Trump supporters, and I'm in commie Washington State, so that's something there. Onward. let's see here. We've got, we might be ready to move on to this big story here, but first we've got a little bit of health to talk about. This is starting to go mainstream. The CDC warns healthcare workers to be on alert, this time for measles, amid a rising number of cases. Measles. The CDC and prevention is warning clinicians to remain on alert for measles cases. Cases have been reported in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and the Washington, D.C. areas so far. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that, you know, I think that I agree with a lot of the doctors out there that are saying it's not, you know, this is probably from the compromised immune systems of people after what they've gone through the last few years, seeing these diseases come up, and there's fear mongering around health. And just so you know, the more you worry, the unhealthier you are. You can worry yourself sick. Our thoughts control literally our physiology, our physical things that happen within us can be affected by our thoughts. And that's true. It's 100% true. It's not a conspiracy. It's not anything. It's reality. So, you know, I'm not worried about measles. I'm not worried about the 36th wave of COVID. Oh, are you guys prepared for the 112th wave? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm prepared. Any of this stuff. That's not to say that there couldn't be a biological weapon or something like this that happens, or poison, or who knows. But, you know, it's not worth stressing over until it happens, because you'll just worry yourself sick, and you'll live it. You'll be living through it in your head this entire time if it ever even does happen, and that's not worth it. We can't worry about these things. Everybody run. Measles. As far as infrastructure goes, we saw yesterday a chicken farm go up in flames. Last night, a gas pipeline in the Oklahoma Panhandle exploded, shooting flames an estimated 500 feet into the air. Quite the spectacle, if you want to see here. And here's a video. There's a police car here just for scale. Here, these flames going probably well over 100 plus feet into the air. Absolutely insane. DCP Midstream reportedly owns the pipeline. It was unclear what caused the fire or whether there were any injuries. This is I'm not sure the result, if they got this under control or what. And here's the Texas chicken farm story as well by Fox. Authorities said that over 100 firefighters were working to extinguish the blaze Tuesday. How many food processing plants and farms have to burn before it becomes obvious that someone is trying very hard to destroy our food supply? Yeah. And then in the crazy developments of what's going on here with our people, an adult son of Israeli diplomat accused of deliberately running over Florida police officer. Lawyer claims he has diplomatic immunity. And here he is crying in his mugshot, I think. This is crazy. This is extremism. This is terrorism. This is what we're seeing a lot more often these days. All right. I am going to move off of YouTube for the day, and we're going to continue on with these other stories that are quite graphic. So if you want to catch them, head over to Rumble or DLive and subscribe over there. I don't want to upset the people who censor over on YouTube, but even though they're great people, they're great. So I'm going to end it on YouTube. I put the link in the chat if you want to come over to Rumble or DLive and finish up the last segment of the show. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off of YouTube, everybody. So we'll continue onward, and we're off. So this is just a precaution because I don't want to have to censor myself because I don't know if they would take it down or not, but this is a heavily censored thing. So this story that happened last night blew my mind, and it's a horrible situation. The New York Post frames it this way. The New York Post wrote this morning. QAnon believer accused of beheading federal employee dad waged legal war against government over student loans. So late last night, there was a man who uploaded a video on YouTube. It may have been live streamed even, where he had about over a 10-minute political rant where he said that he killed his father and he had his father's head in a pot, and he showed that on camera. He made threats to various political people. He said his father was a political employee and that he's waging war on all political employees and that he's part of a militia. It's actually just a one-man militia, though. This guy was clearly nuts, okay? Clearly nuts. And now it's being framed by the New York Post as QAnon, which nobody knows what the hell that is. We know, we've heard of Q, we've heard of Anons, but New York Post, they try to frame it as this QAnon, one word. It's they're weaponizing these events, and a lot of people are saying MK Ultra. People are being, as they say, activated, and it's psychological warfare. I think that could be the case here. And that's exactly what I start thinking. As soon as this happened, everybody's like suspicious, as this happened last night. And it unfolded exactly as the suspicions leaned. Let's read the New York Post article, okay? And it's obviously very biased, but I just want to see how they word this. The QAnon believer, which, by the way, how do they know he's a QAnon believer? I did not see one lick of evidence that he's a QAnon extremist. This is just how they're framing it. So let's just see. The QAnon believer who allegedly decapitated his dad, showing off the federal employee's severed head in an online video, had earlier waged an unhinged legal battle against the government over his student loans, claiming he should have been warned he still wouldn't be able to get a job because he was an overeducated white man. So he sued them on the basis of race, basically saying he's being discriminated against or something along these lines. That sounds like a very lefty thing to do, by the way. And he goes on. His name's Justin Moan, 33. He was taken into custody Tuesday night on suspicion of first-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, and possessing an instrument of crime with intent in the killing of his 68-year-old father, Michael Moan. The arrest came after he allegedly held up his dad's head in a YouTube video in which he ranted about him being him going to hell for an eternity as a traitor to his country, while calling for militias to kill other federal officials on site. He had previously filed at least 3 lawsuits against federal agencies, including the U.S. government, over his student loan debts. Online records show that's true. In one, he claimed that the government negligently and fraudulently pushed him to take out student loans between 2010 and 2014 to pay for his education at Penn State University, a court filing shows. And they make this all about that debt. I don't think that's a big part of the story. He was an author of multiple books as well. And they're alarming, to say the least. They're violent. They're weird. They're saying he's a Trump supporter, but Laura Loomer came out and pointed this out. People are doing their own investigation here. Laura Loomer says, Justin Moan is not a Trump supporter. The media is going to lie and say that Justin Moan, the man who beheaded his federal employee father tonight and streamed an anti-Biden monologue online, is a Trump supporter. Moan is not a Trump supporter. He appears to have been driven to a point of snapping by Biden's policies, but his own social media posts show that he didn't like Trump. He also said he's a member of a militia and called for militiamen to assassinate federal employees in his online rant. Guess what the U.S. Senate is currently doing? The U.S. Senate, under Democrats, has proposed Senate Bill 3589, Preventing Private Paramilitary Activity Act, to ban militias in the United States. Justin Moan sure looks like the perfect Democrat patsy for the sake of demonizing people who call out the invasion on the border and for the sake of getting support to ban militias. Just another coincidence? Oh my gosh. So literally, as they're trying to push this Preventing Private Paramilitary Activity Act of 2024, they get this wild story. Here's a post from Facebook from this sick, crazy individual, possibly a victim of MK Ultra, who knows, but a crazy person nonetheless. Writes in one paragraph here on Facebook. Well, let's just read the whole thing. He says, there's not even such thing as America anymore. There's a civil war between Justin Moan, he's talking about himself in third person, and his followers versus the cult. America is secretly focusing and revolving around me, such that the cult is trying to hide me and kill me while empowering the cult and using the media as a distraction. What? This guy's clearly nuts. Nobody thinks it's odd that I'm suing one of the biggest companies in America due to a devout cult belief that I am the second coming king of earth. I mean, Mayor Suthers and Governor Hickenlooper are literally about to go to jail for the rest of their lives after I sue them and for everything they own due to allegiance to a cult who thinks I'm God. Even my own family upholds this cult belief and is willing to go to jail to prove it. Donald Trump, if this does not get fixed as soon as possible, then you will also be in jail for the rest of your life after I sue you for everything you own. That's not a threat. That's a promise. Crazy rant. Clearly not a Trump fan, not an anything fan, just a crazy person, in my opinion. But wait, there's more. Of course, it appears he was on the FBI's radar as well. Some people last night uncovered some posts in 4chan where this kid is mentioned. This kid. He's not a kid. This crazy man's mentioned. I'm trying to find it here. Let's see. Oh, I'll just type in, he was on our radar, and that should pull it up, right? Because that's the meme, the FBI. He was on our radar. Here it is. An anonymous post, Thursday, 13th of July, 2023. And this is somebody talking about this guy. It says here, so what is Justin up to now? Recruiting people in Moan's militia. By that, I mean making posts on Reddit, Firearm, and military subreddits, military subs for people to join his one-person militia. He also tried joining multiple firearm community discords to recruit for his militia. Discords. Getting upset when told these communities are for people just trying to LARP and grill, and then there's a picture linked. I don't know what the picture is. So in summary, one man's bad case of main character syndrome mixed with a messiah complex results in what you see here. Reported to the FBI just in case. So somebody allegedly has said, not allegedly, they did say this. They said they reported this guy to the FBI in 2023, July of 2023. And that he was on Discord. He was on Reddit, he was on Discord, and that's what we've seen with these mass shooters and radicals and these crazy people that people say are MK Ultra victims, which is mind control subjects designed to destabilize. They're always on Discord and are involved with allegedly 3-letter agency people and these kinds of things. I think that he's probably crazy to begin with, and it just makes him more vulnerable to, or him and other people. Some people are more vulnerable than others. And this is just such a sick situation. By the way, don't look that. I mean, the video is, I was sick last night and I saw a censored video. And I was just like, after a while, I was just like, I'm going to bed. I'm this whole thing was just making me sick, honestly. But a weird situation that unfolded last night with this guy. And of course, the media is running with it as he's a Trumper. He's a Trumper. Those radical Trump people. Yeah. Don't believe it, folks. We all are smarter than that. We're figuring it out. Let's see. Do you think this was staged or a legit nutcase? I think that he's legit crazy, but that he's been influenced, if that makes sense. I think he's been brainwashed and taken advantage of, but he was already nuts. I think it's a long process of radicalization that occurs mostly over the internet. I think that people are selected and identified, and then they are meticulously, in a way, groomed to be radical in a covert way. It's part psychological warfare. That's what I believe. And there's evidence to support it. And there was the MK Ultra program in the US government. And so, that's what I believe. Half the world is night. I think it's clear that it's too many coincidences to just brush off as a mere coincidence. How do we know this is or isn't AI generated? This story? I mean, how do I know that China even exists if I haven't been there? Maybe, I don't know. I think it's real. There's a lot of Facebook. His Facebook was up for a long time. There's enough information out there. His father was in politics, or in not politics, but in a federal government position. I mean, there's enough public information to come to the conclusion reasonably that this isn't AI generated. And that he is actually arrested, and I don't know more about the story, like if they've recovered the head or whatever, but that's how I am making the assumption this is not AI generated. But that's a good kind of a philosophical thing. How do I know anything is even real if I've never seen it or been there, right? You kind of have to rely on the other things in the world around us. And it's a risk, I guess, but I don't know. It's an interesting question, Lisa. I appreciate the deep thought there, but I'm going to take off from there. Let's actually just go really quick, see what's trending. Go here. Probably nothing much. So it's more like MK Ultra. Yeah, I think so. Lisa. I really do. But I think it's like the MK Ultra situation. Personally, that's what I believe. It could just be a straight up crazy person, but I think it's both. I think it's a crazy person that was MK Ultra. The FBI shuts down investigative leads that could identify January 6th pipe bomb suspect. Oh, lordy. Fannie Willis is not on a good path. We talked about that. What else? Trump just staged the biggest political comeback in American history. Do it. We've got cops yesterday being attacked by migrants. Horrible situation, man. The destabilization. And I think the whole plan here, I really do think they want people pissed. They want us pissed, which we are pissed, but they want us to act on anger. And that doesn't put anybody in a good position. So we've got to stay level-headed, stay cool, calm, collected, aware of what's going on. If you feel like you need to make a rash decision, I don't care if that's a financial decision or a political decision or this decision or who knows, all the decisions that we make, just take time. Just be like, all right, I'm going to let me wait a week. Let me wait a week and revisit that idea. okay? Especially if there's a large impact from doing it or not. Just wait. Patience, patience, patience. I found that is always a great idea. Just wait. That's my advice for the day. Just wait. Let me know if you guys like the show. Let me know your thoughts on this down below. MK Ultra, what is going on here? My goodness. Lisa says, just breathe. Yeah, just breathe. And I know, look at this Nike sweater. I'm sorry. Just do it. Not the message I want to send. But all right, folks. It's going to be a wonderful day. I've had such a productive week. It's going to be another long, long day. I'll see you all tomorrow morning, bright and early by 8:30 a.m. I apologize for the little bit of a shaky schedule, but just stay tuned, hit the bell so you get notified when I'm live. I've got things in the works. We're going forward. Thank you all for your support and your viewership and your everything. Appreciate you. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you soon. Take care. God bless and God speed.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
'24 may be the year of a black swan event.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.